didn't get to do on Friday. And today I'm going to be painting one of the characters from the D&D stream that you may have got a chance to watch last night, and if you didn't, there's going to be a replay of it on YouTube, and there may also be like a podcast version of it. But anyways, one of the characters in the story, first of all, I want to say I love all the characters in the story. All the characters are so good. So I'm actually probably thinking about doing a variety of characters from it. Not today, but like other streams in the upcoming weeks. But I love all the characters in it. But one of my favorite characters in it is Richard, who is like the one of the people in town that everyone's like, you know, he's not the nicest, but he's cool. A kind of person you don't want to get on his bad side, but he's also cool and really gay. So I want to paint him. The Welcome Necklace story is a story that I've done that campaign. I've played it under the wonderful DM skills of Casper Oliver, who is the one who created the character of Richard Starr. And if you follow Casper on Twitter, you've probably seen a lot of cool art and playlists and stuff like that about Richard. So, but yeah, he's one of my favorite characters in Welcome to Nexilis, and I also know that he has other stuff that he is going to be in, other cool upcoming projects. But for now, he's in Welcome to Nexilis. Again, a D&D Twitch stream that you can watch Mondays at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you also, again, can watch the View on Demand on Casper Oliver's YouTube channel. And in the upload, when I put this on YouTube, there definitely will be links for all of those things. So you can follow along. You can catch up on the the stream if you didn't get to watch it last night when we did the first session of it. So you'll get to watch that. And then you can keep up with future ones. So, hello, Casper. Yeah, I know that you're excited to see him. I was trying to think what I wanted to paint earlier, because I was like, before the streams, it's usually a last minute thing. I'm like, what should I paint? And I was like, obviously really enjoyed the Welcome to Nexilis stuff last night. And I was like, what if I painted characters? And then the first one that came to mind was like, I want to paint Richard. Hello, David. So, because of that, this is going to be more of an artistically styled version of him. I do like painting, like, realistic looking people, but I also like painting ones that have a little bit more artistic license with. So it's going to be not an abstract, but it's going to be more of an artistically styled version of Richard. So, hello everybody. But yeah, I'm gonna be painting Richard in my style, and again, all the fun links and everything will be in the description when this is uploaded to YouTube. And if anybody during the stream at any point wants any of the links to any of the stuff, feel free, Casper, to post your links in the description if you wanna. If you have your link to I know you talked about doing the YouTube video, so if you have that out and whatever, you want to post the links, you're welcome to do that. Anyways, but yeah, it should be fun. It's always me when I'm painting, trying to be like, which one of my paintbrushes do I want to use? And with me being me, sometimes I want to use a paintbrush, and then I realize that I didn't wipe the paint off well enough last time I used it, so it's kind of dried up. Not the best paintbrush for painting anything. So, because of that, I can't always use the paintbrush that first comes to mind, and I'm like, this would be a good paintbrush. So, because of that, sorry for the people mowing outside, by the way. Hopefully that's not too loud in the recording. You know, I can... They'll probably be done soon. Because they usually don't mow for that long. Sometimes in this room you also get to hear fun sounds like the wind whistling through the corridor of my fence and my house. I was trying to record some voice acting stuff recently, and problem is that right at the end of the recording, it was like, it's just a horrible loud whistling sound, which I had to cut out. So yeah, that's fun things in my little recording space that I have. Oh cool, yeah. I'm looking forward to when that's uploaded to YouTube, because I know there's a lot of people last night that they wanted to watch it, but they weren't able to watch it. So because of that, they'll be able to enjoy it and watch it then. Good. I'm glad it's not too loud. Like I said, they should be done pretty soon. So, that's a good thing. It's good. My phone microphone is good for doing this, but it's not, you know, obviously, it's not a real microphone, like a recording microphone, like for voice acting or anything, so it's not too sensitive, so that's good. Sounds ominous. I mean, it's sounding ominous is probably it's relevant for the stream of Drawing Richard, I feel. Of course they come when the art's streaming. They're like, you're going to be streaming? We couldn't have done this 20 minutes prior. We're going to do it now. Because it started like right when I came in here. I wasn't doing it when I was getting set up. No, why would I do that? It started now. That's how it goes. Hello, Cecil. Got lots of people watching today. Because I said Richard, and then they're all like, we're going to come see that. Which is good, because Richard is awesome, and that's why I'm excited to paint them. Alright. Painting people is one thing that I do like practicing in, because it's not... The thing is, like, I'm good at painting scenes, I'm good at painting animals. I'm not quite as good at painting people, which is why I like practicing painting people. So sometimes when I'm painting them, it takes a little longer for me to, how do I want to do this exactly? And what am I going to do with it? But it's also fun, because I do find it really satisfying when I paint a person and it actually looks like the person enough that people are like, oh, that's who it is. I do like that. I'm always pleased when my paintbrush like rolls through my paint, like you guys just got to witness, and it doesn't smear anything, because I always hate when it smears anything. Richard is gay and terrible, which is definitely why folks love him so much. That is so true. Like last night on the D&D stream, everyone was like, Richard, and they were like, he showed up, and as soon as they heard, they're like, gay and terrible, and we love him. Because that's just how life works. If you're gay and then a gay and terrible character shows up, but it's also like cool, people are going to be hyped. They're just instantly going to be like, yes. But yeah, I know a lot of people watching were on this stream last night in some capacity, either playing, moderating, or watching. So it was so much fun. I was very excited about all of it. I laughed a whole bunch. Everyone was so funny. And even though it's a story that I've done before, it still was just as nice as the first time I heard it. I wasn't like, oh no, it's happened, boring. I was like, no, it's even better hearing it again, because I know kind of what's going to happen, but I also know that some things are different, and I'm also really excited to see what has changed. So, because of that, it was a lot of fun. That's our Richard. Yeah, that is definitely true. They just see him and they're like, yeah, that's Richard. Feels like they're breaking us some crunchy out there with their weed eater. Doing this based off memories of different pit crews that I have seen Casper make with Richard. I know what he looks like. And that's one thing I like about pit crews, by the way, is like you can draw things in whatever your style of drawing them is, but it's still nice to see how other people draw characters, because then you get to see a different kind of like different ways people draw different elements of a character. So with a pit crew, then I'm like, oh, I could do eyes that look like that. So like looking at it as a way of kind of like learning how to do different art things. I think that's fun. Yeah, I did not expect them to confront Dr. Anderson, especially not so quickly. They did it so soon. I definitely agree with that. It was so good, though. It was such a funny scene. I really just went for it. I was very here for that. It was so much fun. And again, it's funny. It's also funny for me seeing, because this is the first time that I've seen a campaign for the second time, including like I've never played or DM'd the same campaign. I've never DM'd a campaign in general. So me seeing like how the game is different each time you do it because of different players and stuff, kind of like how with an improv show, you do the same show, you have your same scripted parts, but the whole show ends up being a lot different because of the different people who are, you know, saying different things and playing different parts of characters and stuff. So because of that it was cool for me to see how it was different from when I played it. That was a lot of fun. And again, it was just fun getting to, you know, spend time with those characters again, because all the characters are so good. And I know some of them are in other things that I have read, listened to. There are other projects and stuff of Casper's that I've, you know, if nothing else, I've heard about. But a lot of them are ones that, like, I haven't got a chance to interact with them since when I played the campaign. So it was nice to see them again, because I love them. Yeah, they're doing it now. They did not waste any time. And I think that he just gives off shady vibes. Kind of like a specific therapist in Jar of Rebuke. They have very similar vibes. Not the kind of therapist that you would trust. At least not that I would trust. I've had my experiences with therapists that were nowhere near the therapist that we're talking about. But still, we're just not good. But yeah, I was very pleased. And again, it's funny seeing how different groups of people solve the same things that you with a different group have solved. Because you're like, oh, they're going to do it this way. And that's the cool thing about D&D is it's very collaborative, and it is improv. And it being collaborative and improv means that every time you do it, it will be different. I mean, there is some, knowing how to do improv, I want to say, is really important no matter what kind of acting you do. I remember two things that stand out when I think about that. I went to an acting workshop at the Tampa Bay Theater Festival back in 2019, in September. Right around the time, it was the same week actually, that I did my first audition for the Murder Mystery Company, and then got hired there. But, so I went to the workshop. There was a workshop, I can't remember the guy's name that did it. I know he teaches class and stuff. If I can figure out who did it, I will put the guy's name in the description. I know that he's not local anymore, and he moved to, I think, Colorado or something. He did mention that when we were at the workshop. But, so anyways, the improv guy that was teaching, like, the different improv lessons and exercises and stuff, like, I remember we had one where we had to, like, make different levels of different emotion faces and step forward and step backwards to people. We had a really good improv thing, where we had a really good improv thing where we had to do a scene, like, people in the audience of other people in the workshop would call out different things, and we'd have to do, like, it would be like a scene where this type of family member, this kind of dynamic, is discussing this. And at the theater festival, it's actually where I met two friends of mine, including my friend Mitch. So that was a lot of fun. And also my friend Gabrielle, or she goes by Gabby. But it was a lot of fun. But one of the big takeaways from going to this improv class was this guy was saying that, like, knowing how to do acting is good and well and everything, but you need to know how to do improv. Because, like, he for a long time was like, oh, I don't do improv, I'm a serious actor. And he didn't get any jobs. And he was frustrated because, like, he wanted to be an actor. And then he started taking an improv class because somebody was like, yeah, you should take an improv class. And he was like, fine, I'll do it. And he took the improv class, and then he not instantly maybe, but after doing that, he suddenly started getting cast in everything because he knew how to do improv. And I've seen that reflected in a lot of other places too. I don't care what kind of, even if you don't want to be like an improv actor, knowing how to do improv is super, super important. Kind of a good example also is, like, even in traditional theater, which is usually seen as being very set in stone, very much like, you're gonna do it by the script. I mean, depending on your director, there could be some that are, more flexible with improv, but a lot of it traditional, like community theater and things like that, they're like, okay, this is the script, you're gonna follow the script, and that's great and everything. But there's a problem. Sometimes you have to do improv when you're not expecting it, because things happen. You have everything perfectly planned. You're like, oh, this is what it's going to be like. And then something happens. And you have to figure out what to do in the moment in a way that makes it look natural. I remember I was playing Puck, specifically, in the Ken Ludwig play Shakespeare in Hollywood. So it's kind of based on the Shakespearean Puck, but a little different. It's a different spin on the character. But anyways, which I want to note is a role I was really happy about, because technically, like, in the script, it says that Puck is supposed to be played by a girl, but Puck uses he, him pronouns because Puck is supposed to be a boy. And there are some jokes in it that are about that, like, oh, I thought Puck was a girl, or I thought, I didn't know Puck was a boy. There's some jokes like that in it, but I was still pleased because I'm like, well, I am, without anybody being like, oh, you can't play a boy character, I was like, I'm playing a boy character. Ha ha ha. that was off topic, but that's just a funny anecdote about it, because I was very pleased when I got my role. Around the time I got that role, it was back in 2016. I was nowhere near coming out yet, but I was, like, kind of identifying a little bit as non-binary and gender non-conforming. So I was really pleased that I was playing a character who was a boy, and as I put it, a gender-neutral fairy. I was thrilled by that character. And while I didn't get to wear some of the costumes I wanted to wear that were a little bit more masculine in the actual production, so I was kind of disappointed about that, because I was like, well, I want to wear this. But it was more like, oh, you wear this. But I remember one scene in that, because it has the whole thing, I can't remember which Shakespeare play. Oh, Midsummer Night's Dream. That's what they're doing. The one that has the magical flower. So, we had a flower prop, and the flower is the flower that puts, like, the love juice in people's eyes, and then it makes people fall in love with the first person they see. The problem here was that with this whole thing, this flower, we had two of the flowers as the props. And the flower, there's only supposed to be one flower. There's only supposed to be in one place at one time. But the thing is that when somebody was coming off the stage, they accidentally dropped the flower. And this was a problem, because we had another flower, but they were supposed to come out onto the stage carrying the flower. And everybody, plain as day, could see the flower sitting right in the middle of the stage. So I was in the wings of the stage, and I was like, I gotta do something about this. My character had just gone off the stage. I hadn't been the one that dropped the flower, but my character had just gone off stage. And I was like, and my character being, mischievous and stuff, as Puck is, I was like, wait a second. It's like, I need to do something about this, because if this other character comes out on the stage carrying this flower, and there's only supposed to be one, it's going to be so confusing. And our stage manager was kind of freaking out a little bit, which makes sense, because I'm like, this is a problem. And I was like, I got this. So what I did, I went, and I kind of like scampered, because my character scampered, basically. I scampered back out onto the stage, because this was a scene where a character who's like the film critic was sitting there having a monologue to himself, which is what he's supposed to do at that point. So I snuck out onto the stage in a scene that wasn't scripted to kind of like watch this guy monologuing, and kind of like I was like doing motions, kind of like making fun of him, mocking him a little bit off the side, but he couldn't see me, but I was like kind of just sneaking up, watching him. And what I did at this point, because there's this flower, I crouched down, just kind of like squatted down over this flower, casually, still like making gestures, like laughing at this guy. I just casually, with my hand that was away from the audience, just casually scooped up the flower, and then proceeded to, leave the stage and make it look like it was something that was supposed to happen. And our stage manager and the other actors who were also in the wings were so hyped when I came back on the stage, because they were like, you made it look like it was something that was supposed to be in the play. And I was like, ha 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 ha. So yeah, even in a play where it's very much like you're going to follow the script word for word, you still need to know how to do improv. So I highly recommend, if you do acting at all, that you do look into improv. And improv is also very, very fun. I'm really glad that I did get into it, because a lot of things in life are improv. And doing improv, honestly, has helped me a lot, because previously, like, in all situations, I would be, like, I would want people to pay attention to me, but I would also be, like, socially awkward and shy. And a lot of it came from me not knowing how to interact with people. So that was something that did take time for me to learn, and like, oh, that's how you do this. That's what the expectation is. So there was a lot of that. But one of the things that made me anxious too was that I felt like I never knew how to respond in any situation. people would say things, I would be socially awkward, and I would be like, what am I supposed to say about that, though? Like, I was afraid of people saying stuff to me not knowing how to respond. That was one of my big issues that got in the way of me making friends and, me just being comfortable in social interactions. But doing improv has really helped me with that because, like, when you do improv, you have to trust yourself that you know what you're doing and trust yourself that you will be able to figure out what's happening. You have to do that. You can't be like, I don't know what to say. Like, even if you don't know what to say, you have to come up with what to say. You have to figure out how to respond, and you have to do it super quick. You don't have an option. Especially when you're getting paid to do improv. You can't be like, can we start that over again? You have to roll with it. So having to do all that helped me a lot in interacting with people because, like, I still do get socially awkward sometimes. But it's so much better than it used to be. It's so much better because I trust that in any situation that happens, and I'm working. It's definitely not perfect, but working on trusting that no matter what happens, I'll know how to respond. I'll know what to do about it, and I won't just be sitting there awkwardly being like, I don't know what's happening, but okay. I've been working on that, and that's been really helpful for just me in general. I've done improv for all sorts of groups of people. I can handle a regular conversation. Whatever they say, I can come up with something to say in response. Because there's been things at shows, and, like, if you would have asked me previously, like, would you know what to say to that? I'd be like, no, I don't know what to say to that. Did I figure it out when I, had to figure it out? When I was put on the spot and it was sink or swim? Yes, I did. So improv is really great at building confidence, I think, and even if you don't do acting, even if you do, a job that requires public speaking or talking to people in general, doing some kind of thing with improv or taking some kind of improv class, I think is really helpful. Okay. I was trying to think, like, what do I want to do with Richard's outfit? But in the meantime, while I think about that, I am going to start painting Richard's eyes, and I have this new shamrock, which I think is a good color. The one deviation from my color scheme. I need to get, what I need to get in here? I need to get a little pair of tweezers. Because, like, just now, I just had to remove a little paint chip from my painting. But if I had little tweezers, I could pick up little paint chips. I should look into. I think I have an extra pair of tweezers in the house. Pretty sure I do. So, time to select the paintbrush. And yeah, I definitely want to do more paintings of the characters from Welcome to Nexilis. I'm going to do another stream on Friday, because again, this is the stream making up for the one I didn't do on Friday, the last Friday. But on this upcoming Friday, then I'm probably going to, I'm thinking about painting Thespis, because I also really, really love them. So I probably will do them on Friday. Because again, I want to kind of do a series of paintings of the different characters, and I might go and, like, this might be what I stream for the duration of Welcome to Nexilis streaming. Because I think that would be fun, and I think it would be cool if I painted all of the characters eventually. So I think that's going to be my next project. So that saves me the trouble of every time I do a stream having to be like, cool, what am I going to paint today, though? So, yeah. Oh, yay, thank you. I'm glad that you're enjoying how it's coming out. I'm having a lot of fun painting it. I'm glad you like the color choices. That's why I asked you, I'm like, okay, what colors, though? Like, I was, from what I've seen and stuff, I was assuming that red would be part of it. But I was like, I'm gonna ask. Because there's some other nice colors, like dark purples and stuff like that, which I could, like, picture him wearing. Like purple velvet, that kind of color. But I do mostly picture him wearing red. Okay, good. Thank you. Pictures of them would be really helpful. I know that you sent me art that you had commissioned of them at some point, and I kind of remember what they look like, but having pictures would be really helpful. Because I did look at the Richard pictures before I started this. Yes, Thespis. Thespis is so good. I feel like Thespis is basically me. They're just like chilling, being a theater gay, being colorful. I'm very envious of their colorful freckles. That's seriously goals. If I could have literally colorful freckles, that would be goals. So, they're going to have lots of colorful freckles when I paint them. Alrighty. Now, painting eyes is kind of my equivalent of painting hands. They're not as hard to draw as hands. Hands are really not fun. And when I draw hands, they usually look weird. But eyes are still, like, you don't want to make the eyes look too hard to see or too, not stand out enough. But also, I've tried to get better at making the eyes look more natural and not like, I slapped some eyes on this. But making, like, kind of like how you've noticed a lot of artists, they don't draw everything like, this is exactly what it looks like. I'm drawing every line. I've noticed, like, a lot of artists, there's, like, looking at what lines artists don't draw. Do they outline everything? Do they draw the lines around the eyes or whatever? What do they do? Because some artists, like, a lot of them have more of a kind of sketch-based approach. So looking at that and trying to be like, hey, that's how they do that. That's what I'm going for. Not in this necessarily, but just like studying art in general. Figuring out, noticing like they did draw this line, they didn't draw this other line. But you obviously, like, that line's implied. It's kind of hard to explain, but I've seen it before and I've been like not all artists, if you notice, they don't just draw every single line, outline everything. Come here. More pieces of fuzz on my painting. Alright, so trying to think about the nose. I'm going to bring some more red back in because facial features will be drawn in red. Like the nose. So, alright, cool. I was hoping it was going to look the way that it looked in my mind, and it did, so I'm happy. That's the thing with drawing that I've learned. It's like, sometimes I'll picture something and be like, this would be totally cool, and I try to do it in real life, I'm like, that didn't look the same as it looked in my mind. Because sometimes your mind has the proportions messed up. And then you try to paint it, and it's like, it doesn't look the same. Ooh, thank you. I'm glad you like the red. I was thinking it would work well. Trying to stay on my little color scheme. All right. And okay, I'm thinking about what I want to do, and I think I've figured it out. Just trying to. I'm trying to really, at this point, I'm trying to picture what shape of mouth I want to draw. Okay, I think I figured it out. A lot of drawing is like me looking at the paper and like invisibly painting and being like trying to picture what it would look like when I actually do it. Because fun. When you use some art mediums like digital art, you can erase stuff if it's wrong. When you're painting, you can erase it in Photoshop, and you can take a piece of paper and paint over it and then blend out the edges of that in Photoshop. or whatever app you use, but you can't fix everything. You can't fix it on the painting. So, drawing mouths are still easier than drawing hands, but they're still kind of hard. Because there's still, basically anything you have to draw more proportionately is hard. Because, like, if I'm always afraid of messing up the proportions and making the person I'm trying to draw look weird. Which is one reason that drawing people is kind of hard. Which is a reason why I want to get better at it. And it doesn't help that a lot of times when I'm trying to paint small details, like my hands normally don't shake that much, but sometimes on my art streams or whatever, my hands picture like, this is a great time to tremble. And I'm like, please don't do that. And my hands are like, I'm like, no. Like, I know last week I was trying to paint the little details on my frogs and my hands were just shaking. And I was like, hands, don't do this. I know I had a little bit of caffeine today, but just don't do this. Not now. Do it when I'm typing or something, not when I'm trying to draw tiny, specific details. And also, like, drawing people can be hard because you're like, cool, how do I draw this expression that I want to draw? How do I signify how this character feels? And that takes, like, looking at people's expressions in real life and trying to think about, like, how to draw this expression. I also do look up other people drawing expressions. To be like, drawing this expression. And then I'll look at that and be like, oh, so they did it this way. Hello, Jazzy. Thank you for stopping by. Just painting Richard. But yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to painting all the characters from Welcome to Nexilis. That's going to be a lot of fun. Me trying to think, what are the proportions of people's lips? Things that I have not studied enough to be able to just know off the top of my head. It's just like me drawing and me going like, I don't really know what I'm doing, but I'm gonna try. Me figuring it out as I go. Which is a fun thing about making art. Because it's like, you're making art, but you're also discovering stuff. Alright, I'm gonna get a different paintbrush. Again, my problem of owning a lot of paintbrushes, but having trouble finding the one that I want. Oh, like, my problem, a lot of it lies in not finding paintbrushes that are small enough. Yeah, faces are really hard. Because it's not just, like, drawing a shape. If I draw a frog or something, I'm like, cool, it looks like a cute frog, that's what's important. I'm trying to draw a face and like, what are the proportions? How do you draw this to look the way it's supposed to? And not just like, here's a smile. If you're trying to do a specific facial expression, it's like studying how do other people draw facial expression. Again, I'm glad this paint was dry because I need to put my hand here to be able to draw the mouth, but I'm like, I don't want to put my hand in the wet paint because that's what I do. And then I put my hand somewhere else and I'm like, ooh, I smeared it. Okay. The faces are hard. Because you have proportion and stuff to worry about. If you mess up on that, then the person will look weird. Just like why I try to, once in a while at least practice drawing people. Because I know it's something I want to do more of when I do eventually stream digital art. You have a drawing tablet and stuff. I want to be able to paint people because I know a lot of awesome artists, and they paint people, and it looks really good. I'm like, I wanted to do the same thing. So I'm like, I will also have to get better at learning how to draw people digitally. But yeah. I'm gonna smear the paint a bit to draw the line between the lips. Are they done with the yard work? Sounds like they might be. Because of course they wanted to do it right before my stream. But yeah, I'm glad that wasn't too loud. Because literally I sat down in the chair and I was like, meh, and I was like, no, that's not what I wanted. Trying to draw. Oh yay! I'm glad you're enjoying the paint stream, Jazzy. But yeah. So. And the eyes are almost, I can draw the pupils. The eyes are almost dry enough for me to be able to paint the outline to them. But one thing that's helpful when I'm trying to draw anything that's vaguely round, get not enough paint that will drip, but a good bit of paint. That may have been a little too much, but you know, if it dries, it dries. It will dry eventually. It's like a ball of paint. I also need to paint some eyebrows because, fun fact, the thing I'm most likely to forget to paint on a face, eyebrows. The number of times I've drawn or painted people and put no eyebrows is a lot of times. I will say that. A lot of times. I've been like, cool, good person. I've scanned it, and then I'd be like, oh no, they don't have any eyebrows. And like, people need eyebrows of some sort, otherwise faces look kind of naked if there's no sort of eyebrow. Unless that's the look you're going for, which is valid. But if it's a person I'm drawing and they're supposed to have eyebrows and they don't have eyebrows, something that needs to be fixed. But painting things around, if you can get, even if you end up having to put maybe too much paint, it is helpful. Because you don't want like fuzzy edges. If I'm trying to paint something which is very round. The hard thing also is painting pupils that are proportionate to the irises and not weird looking. Okay, I almost have it even. Okay, cool. Finally, two even looking pupils. Which again is hard because it's if you make the pupil too big, then you can't really go back on that. Not very easily. Okay, so I'm trying to figure out now what I want to do with Richard's outfit. Do I leave the suit white? Do I change the lapels? I'm trying to think. Who needs eyebrows? It's fine. Yeah, who needs eyebrows? I'm trying to wipe off some of the paint. I just want to accent it a little bit. I know what I want to do. Yeah, and I just forgot to draw the eyebrows still, so proves my point. My brain is like, their face is complete. And then I go and I'm like, no, there's something important missing. Like, illustrations of people without eyebrows, you don't always notice. But I would definitely notice if I saw, like, especially somebody if they had dark hair, I would notice their eyebrows. Either the presence of them, if they were, especially if they had done something unique with them. Like when people, shave the little stripe in their eyebrow, I would notice that. And I would definitely notice if somebody had dark hair, did not have eyebrows in real life. But in a drawing, I may not notice. I might just take it like, oh yeah, it's a drawing. Because, like, not all cartoon things have eyebrows. But eyebrows, I think, for a lot of things I draw, I'm like, I'm gonna add the eyebrows. Okay. So we have that. Just trying to figure out a few little details, and while I'm thinking about that, I'm gonna draw some eyebrows. Eyebrows are another thing that I get nervous about drawing on faces, because I'm like, if I mess up these eyebrows, the person's gonna look weird, or they're not gonna have the facial expression that I want to have. And if I don't know their facial expression, then I won't know what to do about it. And I won't know, like, how should their eyebrows be? Because the angle of eyebrows is really, really important. Is your character going to look happy? Are they going to look mad? How are they going to look? Your eyebrows determine that. Because if I did eyebrows and they're kind of like curved up towards the middle, it would be like kind of like the big-eyed emoji. I don't know what else to call it, but kind of like that type of appealing expression. But if you did the eyebrows pointed down, that would be stereotypically like angry character. So how the eyebrows look really affects how your character looks. Which is why I'm always like, I don't want to mess up on the eyebrows. Because everybody's eyebrow shape is unique, and it changes, like changing the shape of your eyebrows really changes the look of people's faces. And if you mess up on doing stuff with your eyebrows, it can be weird looking. And I say that from personal experience. Times it's like, yeah, I'll do this, and I was like, So yeah, eyebrows are an important part of people's faces. Regardless of what they do with those eyebrows, still affects their face. Okay, I'm pleased with that eyebrow. Now, just gotta replicate that on the other side. Basically, you guys just get to listen to me nervously painting people's faces. And this is when I'm painting in my kitchen or whatever. This is the same internal commentary. I'm just not verbalizing it, usually. Thank you. I'm glad you like the eyebrow, because I was really like, I hope this comes out right. And I don't want to make him look too happy. And I don't want to make him look too angry, because he's kind of smirking. And also I'm like, cool, but what shape of eyebrow would he have? So, at least I have one down, so I just need to replicate it. Because the eyes are basically the same size, so as long as I do the eyebrow the same, it will look similar. Okay. I'm looking at the proportions, because I've noticed that right where the outer part of the white of his eye is, that's where the eyebrow, goes down to the point. Yeah, once you figure out the height of one eyebrow, it's way easier to draw the second one. You just have to make it look the same. So this will be the point. The eyebrow goes down to about here. Up like that. Okay, so that's the basic shape of it. Yeah, I was gonna do the stream on last Friday, but a couple days prior to that, had a little nail in my tire, and it was a slow leak, so I was able to drive on it for a couple more days because it had been in there for a couple days by the time I even discovered it. I didn't have time to fix it because I had to work a whole bunch. So I finally got it fixed on Friday, and I took it to Walmart. But unfortunately, like by the time I got there, and also it was a Friday, there was a lot of people getting their cars fixed, and I got there like 3 p.m., but it took them until about 5 p.m. to have it fixed. So by the time I got home and everything, I'm like, it is late. I'm tired. I had to be out for a long time. I'm like, I'll do a stream, a makeup stream. So that's what this is. But yeah, my tire's all fixed and all good to go again. So yeah, it's a good thing. They're almost even. At least one good thing about eyebrows. Eyebrows are generally kind of even, but real people's eyebrows are usually not like, they look exactly the same. Like, you literally copied and pasted the same eyebrow. Okay, I'm almost done with that. Add a little bit more of a point to it. A little bit more fuzziness to it. But yeah, tire's all fixed. Additional stream has happened. Okay, good. I'm pleased with those eyebrows now. They're giving the facial expression I wanted to give. Now I need to get a really thin paintbrush because I do want to put a little outline on the eye, but I'm like, where's my smallest paintbrush? Yeah, car stuff is frustrating. At least one thing I will say, Walmart does have really good prices on getting stuff fixed. Like the tire or the nail was in a place where they could patch it. It only cost $15. Back when I used to take my car, not to the dealer, but another like local mechanic, it was like $45 to get a tire patched. So I'm glad that it's a lot cheaper. Thank you. I'm so glad you're liking how he's coming out. I'm pleased with how he's coming out. So this paintbrush is very small and stiff because I let paint dry up on it. And I'll be the first to admit that. Which is why I respect people who have expensive paintbrushes, because I'm sure they're really nice. But I could not have expensive paintbrushes because I destroy the cheap paintbrushes that I have. I would be too nervous if I had expensive paintbrushes because I would definitely mess them up. I mess up, I'll get like, cool, here's a cheap paintbrush, and I'll mess them up. But I'll keep being like, I'll use it sometimes, so I don't throw it away unless it's like really bad. I'll try to fix it if I can, but I have left some things on paintbrushes that have dried up permanently and never fixed. So, yeah, I respect people who have expensive paintbrushes, but I know if I tried to do that, it would be a waste. Okay, so now I'm gonna probably just outline the top of it, in all honesty. Oops, too much paint. Okay, that's a good amount of paint. I'll see. I might outline the bottom a bit, not maybe the whole thing, maybe the corners, just to add more definition to the eyes. And my hand stopped shaking, so that's a good thing. My hand was like, I told it, stop shaking. And it was like, okay. Didn't want to mess up this beautiful drawing of Richard. So thank you, hand. But yeah, I'm glad I got my car fixed and all sorted out. Like, I'd rather have to wait 2 hours to get it fixed and only pay $15 than maybe get it fixed slightly faster, but not that much faster, and pay like $45. Oh yeah, cars are definitely dumb, Jazzy, and I'm really glad you know how to change your brakes, because that I also know how to do that, which saved me a ton of money. It's a really helpful skill to know, so I'm glad you know that. Cars are dumb though, and a lot of things in them are very expensive to get fixed. I used to have a smart car. It was horrible with its brakes. A lot of brakes are supposed to last like 50 to 75,000 miles. I know it only lasted 25,000 miles, which meant that I had the car from like 15,000 miles up to 50,000 miles, 55,000, and I sold it because it had a lot of other problems going on. But anyways, but it had to have the brakes changed every 25,000 miles, something which, because most of the repairs on the smart car, you could only have done at the smart car dealer, and it wasn't under warranty anymore. Yeah, we are brake friends. We know this magical, forbidden skill of changing our own brakes. So, yeah, it saved me so much money, because, like, the repair at the shop would have been, like, I think, like, 150 or 200 or something to have the front brake pads changed. And I could do it for $40, which was the cost of the brake pads. The first time I did it, it was kind of hard. But the second time I did it, it was easy. I was like, I know what I'm doing. It wasn't that long ago that I changed it the first time. So I figured it out. But yeah, it saved me a lot of money. So I'm glad that my dad taught me mechanical stuff that he's taught me how to do. Because it's made my life a lot easier and helped save me a lot of money. That's the thing, is like, older cars, a lot of them were easier to work on. A lot of them also were larger, and they had larger, less crammed together engines. Like, we had a 1991 Chevy Blazer. It had a huge engine. It was really easy when I had to change the radiator, literally the radiator in that. It's easy to reach everything. Smart car, everything was really crammed together. And like, I get that it's a compact car, so it'd be different than like the Chevy Blazer. But a lot of the parts and labor, like, you could only get them from the dealer. So I couldn't fix things on my own, which did frustrate me. Because I'm like, I'll fix this. And they're like, it's really hard. And like, for example, one of the problems that it had was it had the radiator fan that helps cool off the radiator and everything. I mean, like, blows air to it and stuff. The problem with that is it would get hit by stuff because there wasn't a thing on the bottom of the smart car to stop rocks from hitting up. Sort of break the fan blades, which would make the radiator, like, have the risk of overheating. But the problem is, like, to get to that, you literally have to take out the whole air conditioning system and drain it and remove it. Take out the whole radiator. And take out, like, there's another large part, maybe I can't remember. There's another large part in the front of it you have to remove. You have to take the whole front of the car off and, like, take all the plastic off the smart car to fix it. And it broke twice in the time that I had the car, which is ultimately why I ended up selling it. Or rather, I sold it to CarMax, which was a good experience. I got a fair price for it, so I did have a good experience with CarMax. But yeah, it was frustrating because it was a repair that was really expensive at the dealer, but also I couldn't do it on my own, which really frustrated me. So yeah, knowing how to do stuff on cars is nice. I need a bigger brush for that. I was like, I want to fix this because I realized it's not a triangle like the other one, and I'm like, have this tiny little paintbrush. There it goes. Okay. But yeah, cars, Cars are cars. I can change a tire, but, like, obviously I can't patch a tire. I don't have the thing they have that helps get the tire back on the rim. And I'm not going to do the thing where you light a match and throw it inside the tire, so. Yeah, how about, no, the smart car repair also, like, the repair I was going to need at the dealer would have been, like, $600 to $800. And considering this had already happened another time, in the 55,000 miles I had it, which we got fixed under warranty, I'm like, it's time to get rid of it. Because you can't drive it with the risk. I mean, I could drive it, but I couldn't run the air conditioner or anything because it had the risk of the radiator overheating if I put any additional strain on the system. Because the fan would spin in general, but it would spin faster when the air conditioning was on. So when I heard that, and the battery was messed up too, it needed a new battery, but Walmart couldn't change the battery because of how it was in there. In the tie downs and stuff, the battery, it kept sparking when they were trying to remove it, so they had to reject it. And I'm like, that's the kind of car I have. The kind of car at Walmart rejects changing the battery in. And the dealer was going to charge like $200 to change the battery, which was just wild. Oh no. That definitely sucks. That would suck. And I'm sorry that they sold you the car with that. Like, that strikes me as something that they should know about. The smart car's brakes weren't that good. I don't know if there probably was something wrong with them which caused them to need new brake pads so quickly. But I remember, like, one time I was driving and it was really scary because there was a light and it was changing and I was like, I think I have enough time to go under it. And then I was like, no, I'm going to stop for it. I should stop for it. I don't have time. So I had to put my brakes on pretty quickly. And the road was, like, it wasn't raining. The road was a little bit damp. But my oh wow. That's wild. And they shouldn't have sold you it like that. That's messed up. That is wild. Oh no. I'm sorry that happened to you, Jazzy. That would really suck. They shouldn't have done that. But yeah, the smart car once, I slammed on my brakes because the light was changing and the road was a little damp. And my car just slid out into the intersection. It didn't stop. Why would it do that? It just slid into the intersection and I ended up, like, I was trying to stop at the light. I ended up running the light. There wasn't a camera or anything, so it, didn't cause a problem, legally speaking. But I still, and there was it was like a sleepy neighborhood light, so there was nothing going on. But yeah, I just slid into the intersection. I was stopping way back for the line, but the car was just not stopping. The analog brakes came on. It just kept skidding into the intersection. And I was like, these are the brakes that this has? It's not even that big of a car. It was really scary. Because I'm like, cool, what if the next time I need to stop my car, it's just like, no, we're not going to stop. The brakes on that really weren't good. I always had to use an analog brakes in that. Like, I just put my brakes on, have to stop pretty hard, and the analog brakes would just come on. And they didn't even stop the car very well. And again, it's a small, lightweight car. It's not like a big, heavy car. It should be able to stop the car, but the brakes seemed weak for how big the car was, which after that point I'm like, I'm not trusting these brakes, and I know where my emergency brake is, and I know how to use it, because I might need to at some point. But yeah, I love the smart car because it was cute and it was cool, and it was fun to drive, but it definitely had its problems. And this was a 2012 one. They may have gotten better after that. It may have been, because I got it used. It could have been something just with mine. But I still had my problems with it. One of my big problems with it was just the fact that it was so expensive to get it fixed. That was honestly one of the worst parts about it. Because of how proprietary all the parts and stuff were, getting things fixed on it was not only expensive, but a lot of times, again, involved the dealer having to be involved. To which I said no. Because I even contacted a lot of non-smart car dealer mechanics and stuff. And if I'm remembering correctly, a lot of them were like, oh, we can't do that. You have to get it done at the dealer. Or they would have to charge me extra to get the part from the dealer, so that they could then fix it at their place. And my fear was like, if they don't have the part, they may not know how to fix this right. And I wouldn't know that they didn't know how to fix it right. I would not know that. They could be like, oh, your car's fine. And they may not have done something right. Because you had to put the car back together very specifically. And I didn't trust them to do it. But paying the dealer to do it would be very expensive. So then thankfully this was before, everything going on started happening. It was like right before that. And I sold my car to CarMax. Which again, it was a good experience. I still had money on the car. And I was able to I only had to pay like 1 more month's worth of payment basically. Which I would have had to, had I kept the car, pay anyways. To make up the difference in what they offered me. So it was fair. And it was a good way to get rid of it. Because, they can fix the car, sell it, or whatever, for cheaper than I can get it fixed because they have mechanics. They don't have to pay the same rate. But, yeah. I like my Kia Soul that I have now. It has always been good. And when stuff is needed to be fixed on it, I've been able to fix it. Or get it fixed for, not a horrible price. So if I need a tire patch or something, it's like, that's something easy. There's no reason I need to pay a lot. It's not like if you pay $45 to get your tire patch, it's going to be better than $15 tire patch. It's really basic. Like, when I first started driving, I was always getting nails in my tires because I was always driving, in the gutter of the road, basically. I think in a couple months, I got, 3 nails in my tires. And it always sucked because I always had to pay so much for $45. And that wasn't even at a dealer, it was just a mechanic. Because I didn't know that Walmart did tire patches. And now I know, and I'm like, I want to save money. So now if I get a nail in my tire, it's not like, oh my gosh, it's the end of the world. It's like, I'm just going to go to Walmart. I might have to wait a while, but everything will be okay. Okay. Still trying to think what to do with Richard's suit here. Because I could do a red suit with black lapels. I could do a white suit with red or black lapels. Because I feel like he wouldn't just wear a white suit. But again, I don't know what color. So if anybody in the chat wants to give suggestions, then feel free to do that. Because I'm still undecided about what color his suit should be. Because I want to fill it in with something, or at least fill part of it in. Because he, again, doesn't strike me as the kind of person who's like, I'm going to wear a white suit. Okay. At least the paint's drying, so there's not so much risk of me putting my hand in it now. I make jokes about that a lot because I do it a lot. I try not to do it on the stream. For a second, I was like, did I draw the eyebrows? And I'm like, yeah, I drew the eyebrows. It's okay. Just me being nervous about the eyebrows. Okay. I don't want that big of a paintbrush. So I just dip my paintbrush in the paint and be like, not that paintbrush. Okay. Sometimes I'm like, I really need a smaller paintbrush for that. Just me casually mixing a little bit of paint. I'm mixing it on a napkin. It's probably not the best place to mix it. Add a pale definition. Oops. Did I put my hand on something wet? Yeah, I did. I knew it would happen. It's all good, Jazzy. I'm just trying to picture. I think, I might do a black suit with red lapels to match this kind of turtleneck with a cutout kind of undershirt he's wearing. Because there'll be a little white outline, so we'll bring in the color. Because I'm trying to... Oops, I wanted to use my weird paint that I mixed in my napkin. Okay. Okay, now that I've got that. Alright. So we have that. And now... and now, after I get the paint off this paintbrush... Okay. I always make sure I dry up further on the paintbrush because I hate when like water just drips on the paintbrush off the paintbrush onto your canvas, and then you're like, no. Okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna outline. I want to keep the shape that I've drawn, but make the suit a different color. More careful outlining work. Sometimes when I paint things that like outline like everything in the painting, I love how it looks, but it's also really time consuming, so I don't always do it. And also doesn't look good in every style of thing. Okay. Yeah, I'm really liking this color combination. I'm really pleased with how this is coming out. I can go to the edge with this one. But yeah, last night I really enjoyed the D&D stream, and on top of that, today when I was like, what do I want to paint? Then I'm like, oh, what if I painted Richard? And then again I came up with the idea that like, what if I painted all the Welcome to Nexilis characters? Because I think that'd be fun. And they can all have specific color schemes, which I think is also fun. Okay, now I've outlined it. I'm going to fill it in. Looks like I'm going to need to put more paint in my little paint cup. That's the nice thing about pouring the paint into the cups and not putting it into like a palette of some sort. Because when I'm done with the paint, if there's still paint that I poured out that I didn't need, I can just pour it right back in the bottle. The palette's a little bit harder to put it back. But I hate wasting it. Even if it's really cheap and inexpensive, I still feel bad about wasting it. Like, most of the time, it's not that if I'm mixing colors, I need to mix it somewhere, and I don't do that in paint caps because then it messes up the rest of the paint. But I will try to mix, only how much I think I need. But enough to not run out. Okay, I like how that looks. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to do this other one. I'm going to make this look evil. Equal. Making it look evil. That's probably an aesthetic that Richard would like. So he'd probably appreciate me trying to make his suit look evil. So. Just evening up the edge a little bit because it got a little fuzzy when I painted it. Okay. But yeah, I've had a lot of fun painting this. And with these streams, a lot of times it's the very last minute. I'm like, what am I going to paint today? And it's like 10 minutes for the stream, and I'm like, I don't know what's happening. That's been a lot of my art streams, honestly. Sometimes I've had an idea earlier in the day or an idea for a few days, but sometimes it's just been like, this is what I'm going to paint. But it's like a couple minutes for the stream, and I'm like, still undecided. And I will actually get around to posting the stuff I painted on the art streams on my Etsy. Because I know a lot of them would make really good stickers and prints and stuff like that. So I will genuinely be adding those soon. I just keep forgetting to do it. And I had a lot of projects I was working on recently. I had a lot of things I all had to get done by yesterday. And most of them, I only had like that week to do them. Because I either didn't know about them or didn't have the stuff I needed. Or didn't even know I was going to do the project. And I was just like, I'll do this. Or had been working on it for a while. But then I was like, couldn't focus on finishing it. But I was like, I have a deadline. I have to finish it. Even if I don't, want to. Even if I have no motivation, I need to do this. Okay. Now. Okay, I'm trying to think if I want to also do an outline inside the lapels. Let's try doing the red, like I've just done the black. I think that will look cool. And it also just reminded me that I have some Jar of Rebuke art that I did before that I have shown Casper, but I've never put it online yet, and I just remembered that. It's on my computer, and I was like, I remember a couple weeks ago, I was like, I'm gonna post it, and then I got distracted or something happened or something, and I was like, I'm not gonna post it. Or I had something else I had to post, and I'm like, I'll post it later. And then I never did it. I just remembered that. So I will be posting that soon, because I'm really happy with how that came out. And I want everybody to be able to see it. It's me checking to make sure there's no water that's going to fall off my paintbrush and get on my painting. Okay. So, just making sure everybody can see. Yeah, I did the Jar of Rebuke art. It's a fun little painting of Jared and Darius and Jamie and Milo and Holly, and they're just having like a fun time hanging out together. All honesty, I made that about 2 months ago. I made it 2 months ago. I showed it to Casper for their birthday, and then I forgot to post it. So, yeah, I will post that soon. Maybe I'll do that today. Because again, it's on my computer. I have it scanned. I have it edited. Pretty sure it's edited. I've just never posted it though. Which is very on brand for me. The number of unfinished projects I have will always be a lot. I joke about it a lot because I have so many projects and I'm always like, what if I did this thing? That's the funny thing though, is I made a tweet about this earlier, but after being busy so much for the past week of trying to finish these 5 projects, many of which sprouted up in this last week, and having this deadline of all of them had to be done by the 15th, some of them had to be done, a day or two earlier than that. But all these projects, and I was so busy working all those, and now that those are done, I'm like, what do I do now? What project's next? And I do have some ideas, and there are some things I'm like, well, I should work on that. For example, I have an upcoming comedy podcast. I do not have a title for it yet. I'm trying to come up with one because before I announce it on social media and stuff, I would like to have a title so that I can actually give people something to be like, oh, that's that podcast. But yeah, it's going to be a comedy podcast. It's about, it takes place in a a world where like different monsters and mythological creatures and things live side by side with humans, and it's just chill. It's just accepted. It's not like, oh, what's this? It's just like that's how things are. So, like some things I've compared it to, it's a little bit like kind of like the Monster Camp games, as far as like I don't think there's so many humans in those games from what I've seen of people streaming them. But how it has just a bunch of different types of creatures. So like that, or like the Halloween Town movies, at the point where, like in some of the later movies, where monsters and humans do exist side by side, not the first movie. Or like the kind of like the podcast George Romero has done for, which is a great podcast, by the way. A lot of my friends are in that podcast, so you should go listen to it. It's a fun podcast, and the episodes are only like 10-20 minutes long, so really easy to listen to. And they're getting ready to do their second season. But anyways, they're monsters and humans in that. It's more of a secret that there are monsters, and it's not like an exposed thing. But so it'd be kind of like either any of those things, but it's like monsters and humans live together, and it's just part of society. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm really looking forward to that because I love writing comedy stuff. I have done stand-up comedy before, prior to COVID, so it's gonna be kind of incorporating that with my sense of humor, while also getting to tell just a fun story about different characters and provide lots of good queer representation. Because, yes, like in anything that I make, a large portion of the characters are queer and will be voiced by queer voice actors. So that's what I'm looking forward to. So it will mostly be kind of goofy, absurdist comedy. Kind of like this. It's hard for me to pinpoint exactly the humor, but kind of the humor of like the comedian Chris Fleming. They're the one that did the Company is Coming video in the Gale web series, and now have a stand-up comedy career. But like that kind of just fun, kind of random, absurdist humor, that is some of my favorite humor. So that's what it's gonna be. Kind of that style of humor. But also will, be representation for queer identities, and there'll be queer characters, and like mental health and things like that will be themes touched upon, but those will be the things that are taken seriously in the podcast. It won't be like mental health will never be the butt of any of the goofy jokes in the podcast, but it will be something to be normalized in the podcast. Like, it will just be a thing. Like, Kara will be like, I was at therapy earlier. And it will just be like, yeah, it will just be normalized. Or that the characters, take like antidepressants or whatever. So, because of that, those will be the things taken seriously on the podcast. But it won't be, it's not about mental health, but it's normalizing like mental health, and some episodes will be about that, and some episodes will be about, queerness and things like that, and those will be the things that are taken seriously on the podcast, and the rest of it is very, very silly and goofy. But yeah, that's the best description of it I can give right now. But I'm really excited about that. I'm going to be voicing the main character, who is a half demon, half elf, named Finley. And they are non-binary and use they, them pronouns. And a couple other friends of mine are already slated to be in the show. I know Casper's going to be playing a character in there. Got a lot of cool things in the works. So that's one of those projects, like, I should work on this. I should work on this next. So maybe I'll work on that some. Okay. Okay. I'm just looking. I'm trying to think, is there anything else I want to do before I Like, this is done. Well, he has eyebrows. So that is good that I finally got that done. I'm trying to think. Do I want to add... He strikes me as the kind of person that would just like, I'm going to put a carnation on my shirt because I can. Yes, eyebrows, check. That's the thing that when I'm drawing a person, I'm like, do they have eyebrows? Or did I forget? I think I'll do a little more touch of color. Kind of would be a little carnation. Just like pinned to his suit jacket. Add another little pop of color. And I was trying to see if there's anything else. I'm trying to think about if I added a thin red line inside here to keep the theme of the black having the red lines. Or, no. A thin black line, and then it would mirror the suit. I'm gonna do that in just a second. Because I felt like something was missing, and I think like facially and stuff, everything is done. And as far as like Richard's outfit, after I finished drawing this little flower, everything is done. But I still felt like there was something that needed to be added, and I think like that's what I'm gonna do. Get my little paintbrush. Okay, cool. Alrighty. And then we are almost done with this. If we can just avoid putting my hand in what I've just painted, everything will be cool. And the eye paint is still wet, which doesn't surprise me, because I did put a lot of paint. I like when there's repeating patterns and things like that I can include in art or in writing, if I can have, repeated symbolism. But yeah, then I think all the stuff I wanted to have repeating will be done. Just to make it so these edges aren't too fuzzy. Sometime I want to do an abstract, probably a Sharpie drawing on one of these streams, but I'll paint a background. I'll probably do that before the stream, mostly because paint takes a while to dry sometimes. If I paint a background, I'll have to cover it with gloss because acrylic paint tends to jam up my Sharpies. So I would have to cover it with my gloss varnish, but after I do that, then I could draw over it with a Sharpie. But just do an abstract. I like doing... I don't really think I have anything posted online like now that's been that style of mine that I do, but I have done a lot of stuff like that before, and I like that kind of art of just like, I'll just improvise when I'm drawing over the colored background. Actually, I think I have an example in here, which I will show you here in a second, of like what that would be. It won't be for a while, but I would like to paint something like that, or draw it on a stream sometime. I think I have an example in this room. I like adding... I don't like making overly detailed backgrounds, but I do like doing patterns or whatever. And I'm trying to think, like, is there anything else this background needs? And this will be uploaded onto YouTube. Okay. I think everything is done. Yeah. I'm just checking really to make sure, like, is there any details that I think is important that I didn't do? But I think I did all the details. I think I did all my cool stuff. Alrighty. Yeah, I'm gonna show you. Let me stand up really quick because I have a thing with canvases next to my. I see it. Because I'm trying to show you kind of an example of what I would do. But with more, not so much of a pattern. Here's a painting that I've done. Where I painted the background and drew over it. So, like, it would be kind of this style of drawing stuff, but there would be, like, little scenes of different things. Like, little mountains. And this is a geometric pattern. This was a lot of fun, by the way, to draw. And the paint didn't jam at my Sharpie, which was nice. But yeah, I want to do something kind of like this on the stream. A fun geometric thing. But, anyways. But yeah. My painting of Richard is now done. Yay! So yeah. Thank you everyone so much for showing up. I'm really pleased with how this came out. On Friday, this Friday. I don't know the exact time, but somewhere between 2 and 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be back, and I will be painting Thespis from Welcome to Nexilis. And again, if you're watching this on YouTube, there's going to be links to the stuff for Welcome to Nexilis in the description. And, yeah. But yeah. Our little gay, terrible, trash boy that everybody loves so much, Richard Starr. And thank you everybody so much again for showing up. It's always really fun doing these streams and showing everybody my art. And fun making stuff in front of everybody. So, thank you so much. Hope everybody has a great day, and I'll see you all on Friday. Bye!